as we saw on Thursday, the continuous softening on the equity side, even though the downside was not as heavy as it was earlier in the week. But then the listed securities market also pulled back a little bit. Looks like some folks believe this was time to take profit. But again, the most active action or the most active trading was at the fixed income space. Take it from here.
Yes, so let's go back to equity, how you actually sequence this all from. So, yes, down some 0.09% yesterday. Active trades in FCMB. You saw a bit of modest recovery in the oil and gas counter, as well as the banking sector counter. Major names that had been gaining for some time, or that had been weaker, rather, for some time, now came back with some gains in the oil and gas space. You got Japol, which was down earlier, Oil that saw no trading, O&O and Eternal Oil PLC. These are the major energy stocks that we track now that saw no movement. They all came back with some movement yesterday. It was moderate gains there yesterday. In terms of the industrial goods sector, you got CCNN, that's the cement company of northern Nigeria, that was up some 7.76%. And if you look at that particular company, it's also dragged for a while now, until yesterday when we saw a bit of traction on that space. But for Dangote Cement is one of the stocks that folks at Vetiver Capital Management are looking at. They're watching it, and they've came up with a bit of analysis on it, on this price movement in recent times. It slid 239 basis points the day before to a new year low by some 28 basis points. It's now 28% below its target price of 276 naira 28 kobo that was estimated by Vetiver Capital Management. But as it is right now, it has gone below that level to 200 naira 10 kobo thereabouts, and that represents a 13% decline in its value year to date. So we'll be watching that company and be seeing how things will pan out, especially next week, because given the level of sentiment we've seen this week, week-to-date performance of the market is likely to be in the negative territory, there's no doubt, because we've seen more days of losses, more sessions of losses this week, as it were. For the energy markets, we saw movement in just 4 of the companies there that we tracked. As I said earlier, they indicated the level of performance we saw there at the oil and gas space segment of the NSE, which was up some 47 basis points yesterday, Thursday, the 4th of October 2018. Let's look at the unlisted securities market now, where the index contracted by 1.78%. Bosun, you said it, that it looks like there was an opportunity for some profits taken there. Yes, nothing far from that, actually. But the good news is that the index of that market is still standing at a 708.374 points now. If you look at the market capitalization, that came in at 479.62 billion naira. And for the volume moderation, we saw 1.22 million units of shares traded for just a value of about 20 million naira. That's yesterday. There were just 23 deals there. If you ask me, the week-to-date performance of that market should be coming in this Friday fairly positive, because the level of profit taking we saw today is not enough to determine or to judge that it will end in losses. Let's look at the fixed income market, where the bonds trading yesterday saw more of bullish proceedings. We saw yields moderating at 6 basis points on average to 14.83%. There was demand at the short and the long end of the curve, and we then ended up seeing the July 2021 contracting by some 86 basis points, while March 2027 was about the one that had more interest yesterday, had more demands from investors, and it ended up contracting by 9 basis points. We saw that level of movement, but there was more of sell-off on the March 2024, as well as July 2034, the day and at the secondary side of the market. At the end of the day, we saw the yields expanding there by some 9 basis points. But if you look at April 2037, it was priced at 108 naira 41 kobo yesterday at the FMDQ, which is the secondary market there. And for the total value or total deals that we had was 42. For total value was 19.35 billion naira. In terms of the treasury bill space, you got bearish sentiment yesterday following the liquidity mop-up that we saw in the preceding session. Average yield now had to climb some 10 basis points to 13.01%, where you saw sell-offs on the 288 or 28 data maturities papers, which had to rise by 81 basis points. You also saw sell-offs on the 161 data maturity, leading to some yield expansion in that space. But the yield at the long end of the curve now had to expand by 12 basis points, and that was driven by the level of demand that we saw on the 343 data maturity papers, which contracted by 29 basis points. Number of deals, 269. Value was 103.81 billion naira. Bosun.
Temple, this is early morning, but again, the phrase in the market is to buy low, sell high. So, in your opinion, is it the good time right now to take that to the market, that mantra, that buy low, sell high? Is the mood, is the appetite there to buy low, hoping the prices will go high, then folks can sell off?
Absolutely, Bosun. You know how it is. You've been doing this way before I joined this market, so that's the way to go. You buy low to sell high. I mean, it's the in thing. I stand by that theory. Buy on the rumor, sell on the news. That's the way to go. So, well, that's the situation right now. We've seen a lot of investors taking advantage of the low prices. We've seen bargain hunting, especially in the banking names, as I said earlier, and it's continued like that, except for the fact that Dangote is dragging the market again as we speak. It's currently down some 0.05%, and that's the kind of movement that is likely to continue today. Because again, you know, it comes from the industrial goods sector, while the likes of CCNN and WAPCO are not as big as Dangote Cement. Their movements in the markets will have less impact in the markets, especially when this kind of sentiment basically continues. But as we speak, generally the index of the market is flat, marginally down some 0.03%, and you got volume at 54.5 million units of shares traded so far, while the total value of what has been done so far by investors is 322.82 million naira. But in terms of gainers, we've seen gains on the counters around Access Bank that rose this morning from 8 naira to 8 naira 5 kobo. It's currently up some 0.05%, having done some 31.42 million units of shares traded on it so far. ICO is also one of the companies that is blazing the trail right now. ICO is up 0.05%, NAMED 0.05%, and Niger Insurance is also up some 0.02%. We're seeing positive movement on that side of the counter. Save for what we have seen on Dangote Cement, by now the market should have been looking positive in terms of the level of movement in the index. Bosun.
For any idea if anything significant will come in terms of news today to wrap up the market for us?
That's rare to find right now. I don't think anything, any major catalyst will be coming in. The only thing I know about is that of Kiotex PLC, which is trading at 4 naira 72 or 73 kobo. That's a company that has declared an 18 kobo interim dividend, and that is to be paid in this month of October. And that also explains the reason why the stock has been moving in recent times, Bosun.
Okay, thank you very much, Temple Ashaju. And whatever you do this weekend, everyone, please make sure you don't mess with the Naira and keep the Naira clean. That's a new campaign. Well, that's an old campaign that is now being made new. All things being made new is called a resurrection. Keep it there. Keep the Naira clean and healthy. Let's get together on Monday and compare notes. Let's put some Naira on the table and see how we're doing. Have a great weekend. Lay back, systems on Monday, formal here on Business Morning.